Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aylin, and today we are going to be filming my biggest book haul to date. There are like 70 books in this. I don't know how it got this bad. These are basically all of the books that I purchased from March or April of last year to now, because it's been so long. I wasn't really on YouTube much last year, which means that I have a lot of books that I haven't shown you guys or talked about. So the goal is to never let it get this big ever again. These are all of the books. I've gone ahead and broken them up into categories. So we have fantasy/fantasy romance, just straight up romance, which is obviously the biggest category. We have miscellaneous, which has poetry as well as some literary fiction and just some random things. And then mystery thrillers and book of the month books, of which there are not many because I was good and canceled my subscription. I got it again, but temporarily. I think I like this angle the best. So let's get started with the fantasy and fantasy romance. In the mail today, I got one of my most anticipated releases of the year, which is Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Sean McGuire. This is the 9th book in the Wayward Children series. I have not read it yet. I was waiting for my physical copy to come in the mail so that I could read it and annotate it as I was reading it, because I started listening to the audiobook and immediately there were already like 2 or 3 quotes that I heard, and I was like, okay, it's too many for me to just save later. I need to wait until it gets here. Mislaid in Parts Half Known, like I said, this is the 9th book in one of my favorite series of all time. It is like a fantastical, whimsical series about these kids who are either from other worlds or go to other worlds that best suit them. Some of them make tons of sense, some of them don't make any sense at all, but either way, they make more sense to the child that is in them. This series also covers a lot of really heavy topics like grief and identity and different things like that. Each book is obviously following a different main character. They're really beautiful and all interconnected in some way. And like I said, it's one of my favorite series because it does cover so much and there are so many beautiful quotes, but also the worlds that are created within one series are just stunning as well. These are in no particular order, I should mention. So for my birthday, my best friend got me Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa, so thank you, Lindsay. This one is a fantasy romance that recently got picked up by Bloom and traditionally published, but it has been on my radar for quite a while. I've heard it's very similar to like Actar, if you've read that, but more romance centric, if you can believe it. Basically, I think this is called the Bargainer series. This girl has like a bracelet of like beads and stuff, and they're each like a favor that she owes the bargainer, and I believe like a romance sparks between the two. I used to know a lot more about this when it had like first come out and was getting its initial buzz, but it's always been on my radar as something that I really want to read. So I don't know the full synopsis anymore, but either way I am really excited about it. So thank you so much to Lindsay. I love and appreciate you, and I cannot wait to read this. I think she also has this, so this is a book that we could like potentially buddy read. We have a lot of books to potentially buddy read though, so who knows. The next one is one that I got shortly after or just before I posted my last book haul, and that is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the first book in the Bridge Kingdom series. This is about a girl named Laura who has been raised to basically be like an assassin her entire upbringing, because amongst her and her sisters, one of them is going to be chosen to go to the Bridge Kingdom, wherein she is supposed to marry the like prince or king or whatever and unalive him so that their father can gain control of it and have like more or better access to trade, not pay as much, etc., etc., because it's a very coveted piece of land. So she meets him and she is there to unalive him, but obviously she ends up falling in love with him, which is stunning. I did start reading this. I got like 50 pages in and I am really enjoying it. I don't know why I put it down. I think I was in the middle of a reading slump and I just didn't know what I wanted to read. So I do intend to pick this one up soon, potentially in like March, but this one is one that has also been on my radar for quite a long time, and I was very happy to finally pick it up because it sounds super good and I love a fantasy romance. Then we have The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the 3rd book in the Scholomance series, which is one that I started reading in like 2020 or whenever the first book came out, and I never finished the first book even though I was really enjoying it. I think I also got like 50 to 60 pages in. It's an adult fantasy series that takes place in this world where like they go to a school to learn magic, but the school is also trying to kill them. Not exactly sure how it works, but I remember that our main character was like super sassy and very funny and just really cool to read from. I enjoyed her perspective a lot. So I've heard amazing things about the series, not necessarily this third book, but I bought it pretty close to release day so that I could have the entire series because I just get excited about new releases, honestly. So I'm trying to be better about that this year. Either way, I want to read that series very soon, and now I have the entire thing. Then another new release that I just got really excited about, especially because I like the author and it was on sale, so I just felt like I had to get it. It was an impulse thing. Is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. I've never read an Alex Bracken book before, but I follow her Instagram pretty closely and I just love her. She seems like a lovely person. And this one is an Arthurian legend retelling. This one and Lore both seem super interesting and like books that I would love a lot. So I just need to pick them up and find the time to do that. But like I said, this one is like an Arthurian legend retelling, except it's gender swapped, I believe. Beyond that, I don't know much. I just remember like following her process as she was writing this one, and I was very excited. Another one where I was very overzealous. It's a theme. House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas. This one just came out. I'm in the process of reading the first book for the very first time because of all of the buzz. The FOMO kind of hit me. And I love Sarah J Maas's work. I genuinely really do. The ACOTAR series is one of my favorites. A Court of Silver Flames is one of my favorite books of all time. I have a reading blog on that. If you want to go watch it, I'll have it linked below. But I did pick up House of Flame and Shadow. I was honestly just worried it would be like a Fourth Wing situation and that I wouldn't be able to find a copy for a very long time. So I went ahead and picked it up on release day. This is the third book in the Crescent City series, which is definitely a fantasy series, but it's like more modern fantasy because they have like cell phones and all of that kind of stuff. But we are following Bryce Quinlan before and after the events of her best friend being unalived by someone that she doesn't know and trying to like solve that. So I don't know what this third book is necessarily about, but that's where the first book starts, which isn't really a spoiler because it happens within like the first 50 pages. I should have done this with the first one that I did, but I also picked up Lost in the Moment and Found last year by Shauna McGuire, which is book number 8 in the Wayward Children series. I have already read this one. I read it pretty close to when it was released last year and I enjoyed it a lot. This one definitely broke my heart into a million little pieces and I loved every second of it, but that is what these books tend to do. This one was about like a nonsensical world where it's basically a big shop of things, and if people have forgotten things, then they show up in this area where it's like lost, and once they remember them, they slowly start fading away, I believe. It, I believe, is a little bit more brutal than that, and it's pretty harsh towards the end, but it was still so beautiful and heartbreaking, and I loved it. Then we have another book that my best friend got me for my birthday, and that is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber, another finale to a series that I have not read yet. Who is surprised? This is the third book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which is like the spin-off for the Caraval series, which I read Caraval and Legendary and I loved them both a lot. I still need to read Finale, however, but this is the spin-off series for that. It follows Jax and Evangeline. I think it's like Jax's origin story, but I could be mistaken. I'm not fully sure. Either way, I'm very excited about this because Stephanie Garber has such beautiful lyrical writing, and that is one of my favorite things in books, as you will see throughout the course of this haul. I was sad one day, so my very generous and lovely boyfriend took me book shopping, and he got me quite a few books, definitely way too many, as well as some for my friends and family, which he's just the sweetest person on earth, and I am so grateful and love him so much. But like I said, he got me a bunch of books, so you'll see those intermittently throughout this haul. But for now, we have two. The first one being The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, I think. No, this is the first book in the Nightborn Duet, which is a Crown of Nyaxia novel The Crowns of Nyaxia is like this overarching series. The Nightborn duet is like the first, but it's made up of a bunch of mini-series. It seems very confusing, but I'm very intrigued. This one I've also heard is kind of similar to Akhtar. I think it has more like vampires than it does fae, and this girl is going through like a series of competitions in order to like maybe become immortal. I'm not fully sure, but I've heard amazing things about this. It's another fantasy romance. Very, very excited about it. Then we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This one is an enemies to lovers romance where she is a thief and then he is a prince, and they both kind of need to assist one another. I don't know tons about this book, but I have heard amazing things about this series, and it sounds like something that I would really enjoy. Plus, like I said, I've heard amazing things about it, so I needed to pick it up myself. And the sequel comes out relatively soon, I believe, so I want to pick this one up and give it a try. But the tagline says, hunted, hunter, destined for each other. And then, speaking of Fourth Wing and speaking of FOMO, we have Fourth Wing, this beautiful, stunning edition that came out when Iron Flame came out. I also have a normal copy of Fourth Wing that I am annotating, and I probably won't annotate either of these. They're probably just going to be facing out on my shelves to see these beautiful black sprayed edges. You know I had to get them. You've been living under a rock and you don't know what Fourth Wing is about. It's about this school that you go to. It's like a college basically, and you can choose what kind of you want to major in. So there are scribes, there are a few different things. There's like a medical portion of it you could go to. But there's also the Dragon Riders, which is basically like the soldiers or the warriors. And our main character, Violet, is chronically ill, I believe. Her mom was really sick during pregnancy, and it kind of transferred into her childhood, if I remember correctly. And so she is just a little bit weaker than everybody else. She's a little bit smaller. She's been cooped up inside most of her life because her father was trying to protect her. But after he passes away, her mother says, I know your father has been training you to be a scribe, but you are going to be a dragon rider because that's what all Soren Gales are except for him. And her mom is like the headmaster at this school, so there's really no telling her no. Or maybe not the headmaster, but she's like pretty high up there. So like I said, there's no telling her no. So she has to train to become a dragon rider. It's lethal. There are two love interests, so we've got a little bit of a love triangle going. One that was like her best friend growing up, whatever, and then of course one who wants to unalive her because why not? And that is obviously who we're all rooting for. We're done with the fantasy. I think I'll do one more section and then try to film this another day depending on the light because I don't want it to get too dark. We're gonna do miscellaneous, but there's like kind of some romance in there. Some of my favorite books are in there, so that's what we're doing. First up, very random, I have Galatea by Madeline Miller. Look at how tiny this book is. Look at how tiny. This is one that I have already read. I read it immediately after I finished The Song of Achilles in 2020. It's a very short novella, but it is also like Greek mythology inspired. It was very beautifully written. It was heartbreaking. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I have always wanted a physical copy of it, and now I have one. She's so cute. But like also if it was the normal size of a book, it would probably be 2 pages. So I get why it's so small. Another book that my best friend picked up for me so that we could buddy read it and we're just too scared to start is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is supposed to be like the most brutal book ever written. It's about 4 friends and them growing up, but apparently it gets dark and it has made so many people sob. It's also like 800 pages of just pure torture. So I've heard some people really love this and it means a lot to them, but I've also heard some people like hate it because it's so brutal and they feel like it's unnecessary. And recently I have heard one person feel like they were bored. So I have no idea how I'm going to feel. I have no idea how Lindsay is going to feel. Either way, I am excited to feel all of the things because I guarantee I will be someone that sobs like a baby. Moving on to the poetry section of this miscellaneous section, I have New Names for Lost Things by Noor Unahar. I haven't read this one yet. I don't know why, to be honest. It's not that long of a poetry collection. I'll be honest with you, I just thought that the title was beautiful. That's really honestly what sells me half the time for poetry. Like if you can come up with such a stunning show-stopping title, like stop me in my tracks title, then I will probably buy it. The next two books go together, and that is Home as well as Harmony, both by Whitney Hansen. This one I have already read, and I gave it, I think, a 5 out of 5 stars, if not like a 4.75. This one chronicles, I believe, Whitney Hansen's journey with grief, and it was beautiful but very, very sad. As you all know, due to some very recent life events, I have also been going through the stages of grief, and so this was a very cathartic reading experience for me. There are some really, really beautiful poems in here, especially about grief. Let me see if I can find some to read to you, because that was the section that like tore me apart. This one is like beautiful. Just flipping through and not even looking for my favorites, but like they're all so beautiful that they're pretty much all my favorites. I have anchored myself to grief. I have become my loss. It is the only way I know how to keep you. Like, what? This one is also stunning. I feel that if anyone holds me, it might give my heart permission to fall to pieces. So I distance myself in an attempt to remain whole. This one spoke to my soul, and I will probably get a tattoo for it. To the souls born into this world with a somber nature. To the people who are more like rain clouds than rays of sunshine. To the children of weeping willows, they only reject you because they fear you. They only fear you because you make them feel something. Your rain clouds are not your weakness. They are your superpower. I will cry if I think about it too much. So then I also have Home, because my best friend told me to read it. So I am very excited to read this one, but I don't know if I can like take that much pain in 1 month, so we're waiting a minute. And then I believe the last poetry book in this section is Love by Atticus, but it's spelled Lvoe. I have read this one. I give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. I did like quite a few poems in here. It just wasn't my favorite collection, but I would like recommend it. Atticus poetry is pretty well like popular, as it should be, because they are incredible authors. So this one was fine. It just wasn't my personal favorite, but it's a stunning book. Then I picked up This Winter by Alice Oseman, which is a Heartstopper novella. So the Heartstopper graphic novels have been coming out, and the 5th one just recently came out. I still need to get that. But this one, we're just following all of the characters from the Heartstopper novella, I'm assuming over winter break. I haven't read it yet, but it's like 80 pages, so I might save it for like a 24-hour readathon. And then another one that I have already read, we have Birds of California by Katie Cotugno. This one is kind of a literary fiction. It has a little bit of romance in there. It deals very heavily with the Me Too movement and like being a childhood actor and having things happen to you. That's basically what the main character has gone through, and because of that she has a lot of like female rage, which is also really beautiful. There were parts of this that I didn't love so much, so I ended up giving it like a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know why I'm giving you reviews like it's a wrap-up. And we have some of my favorite books of all time. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. My child. The claim I have on this book is insane, to be honest. The quotes, the feelings, I cannot explain to you all of the feelings that I felt while reading this book. And I cannot explain to you how many times I have gone back and just reread quotes because I can't even stand it. I love this book. I think it's my favorite book of all time. It's a big claim. It's a big claim. But I think it's my favorite book of all time. I love her. I love her so much. Basically, this is cycling a toxic relationship between Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne. They are both socialites in London who have been on and off for quite a long time. And you learn kind of the ins and outs of their relationship growing up, what it is now, why it is the way it is now, and what happened so long ago that Magnolia refuses to be back together with him, even though they are still somehow inseparable. It is stunning. It is very real. They are very real people and not always necessarily likable, but I still love them. There's a lot of found family in here, and it's just everything to me, and I can't really explain it. Then we have Daisy Hates, also by Jessa Hastings, which I didn't love as much as Magnolia. Like, this is not, like, it didn't speak to me as much, and it definitely took me a lot longer to get through. It took me almost a year. But the end, I finished this last night, so you'll hear more in my wrap-up. But the ending of this, what the hell? Love it so much. And I'm excited for the next book. I also have Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, but it's in my car right now and I didn't feel like going to get it. So I have that one. I'm currently reading her. And then Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which is the 4th book in the series, and the 5th book comes out so soon. Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I need to go order it as soon as I'm done filming. But you guys, this series, it holds my heart like none other. Lastly, in the miscellaneous section, we have The Infernal Devices, the complete trilogy as a graphic novel, but like manga style art, but you read it like front to back as you would a normal graphic novel. I just thought that this would be cool to have, honestly. I still need to read them like the normal way, in their original format, I guess would be the proper way of saying that. But I just thought that this would be cool and like potentially to reread in the future. The whole trilogy is right here and I love manga, so I thought that this could be like unique later down the line. Those are the first 2 sections. I will be back in the morning or at another time to finish this off when I have more light, because we're running on fumes now and also my battery needs to charge. So I'll be back in a moment for you. It's like a week later. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm here to finish this book haul because I need to get it up ASAP for you guys. So let's get into it. I believe I left off with the romance, which is literally out of frame for you guys. I don't want to move the camera because I just spent so much time adjusting it. Let's start there. Also, don't mind that. I was picking. Not supposed to, but I was. I don't know if I should do romance next or if I should do the other ones and save romance for the last, because I by far have the most romance. Let's do book of the month and then we'll go from there and see how I'm feeling. So for a lot of last year, I paused / canceled temporarily my book of the month subscription just because I wasn't really using it. I wasn't really reading, and so to have it felt pretty like frivolous and unnecessary. As much as I love book of the month, I need to make sure that I'm reading so that I'm making like smart financial choices. So I have been getting better. I have read so many book of the month books this past couple of months, so like hopefully this year we're clearing that section of my library would be great. But I did get a few. So I have Really Good Actually by Monica Heisey, which I believe is literary fiction as it states on the back. This one I'm not sure. The cover just really spoke to me because sometimes this is a whole ass mood. But this one is a hilarious and painfully relatable debut novel about one woman's messy search for joy and meaning in the wake of an unexpected breakup from comedian, essayist, and award-winning screenwriter Monica Heisey. Sounds really good. When I'm in the mood for a literary fiction contemporary book, I will definitely be picking this up. But I'll be honest, this was like a cover buy for me. Then this one is also literary fiction. I don't know what happened this month. This one sounded kind of suspenseful. So it's called I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay. What's this one about? Let's find out. A successful film professor and podcaster, Bodie Kane, is content to forget her past. Family tragedy. Granby School invites her back to teach a course. Convicting someone. Stirring investigation into collective memory and a deeply felt examination of one woman's reckoning with her past, with a transfixing mystery at its heart. Timely, hypnotic, and populated with a cast of unforgettable characters, I Have Some Questions for You is at once a compulsive page-turner and a literary triumph. Love books like that. This kind of gives me, obviously different subject matter, but the same vibe as like My Dark Vanessa. Obviously very different subject matter, but the kind of thing where it's like very gripping and almost suspenseful, but it's not a mystery and it's dealing with really heavy topics. So I love those kinds of books. I still need to finish My Dark Vanessa. That book is just really challenging to read, although the writing is incredible and I can read it so quickly. If you read it, you know what I'm talking about. Eventually I will be excited for this one. Again, just need to wait for a literary fiction mood to strike my fancy. Then I have a romance, shocking, romantic comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. I haven't heard really much about this one, but a comedy writer thinks she's sworn off love until a dreamy pop star flips the script on all her assumptions. A hilarious, observant, and deeply tender novel from the best-selling author. Don't know a ton about it. I just wanted a romance because I had been reading so many romances, so Eventually I will also get to this one. And then I have a couple of thrillers. I have No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I also picked up None of This Is True in this box by Lisa Jewell, which I have already read and talked about in my January wrap-up. I loved that one. I think I gave it like a 4.75 out of 5 stars. Haven't read this one yet, but I'm really excited to. And then I have Dark Corners by Megan Golden, who is the same author that wrote Night Swim. Yes, and I believe this is like the sequel because we're following the same character. She's a podcaster taking on a different case. So I'm excited to read both of these. I really like Book of the Month's thriller picks. I personally think that is like their strongest thing, but obviously they have something for everyone if you're interested. This is not sponsored, but Book of the Month, if you want to, I would be so down. Then we'll go into YA thrillers. I picked up The Legacies by Jessica Goodman. I believe this is another one that my boyfriend so kindly purchased for me, so if you're watching, thank you so much. I have been seeing Jessica Goodman's work floating around for a little while and I'm really intrigued. I feel like they all sound really good. I have The Counselors by her and They'll Never Catch Us, so I'm excited to pick this one up. Her books tend to be about like prep school spoiled kids in like high school. The tagline on this one says money talks, secrets kill, so can't wait to see what it's all about. One stack at a time, guys, one stack at a time. Then one of my most anticipated releases of last year that I still haven't read yet is The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a spin-off series to the Inheritance games. We are following the brothers Hawthorne, the Hawthorne brothers in this one. I think it's just Grayson and Jameson. I wish Xander was in it because his story arc was the one that I was the most intrigued in by the end of that series, but I will still take whatever I can get in this world and by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I'm excited to read this one. I'm sure Avery will make her appearance in this, but I still love both of these brothers. I'm excited to see where this goes. Plus I got the pretty purple edition, which makes me very happy. Then another one that I haven't even read the first book in the series, so I don't know who I think I am, purchasing the third book in the series, but that is One of Us Is Back by Karen M. McManus. I saw that this had come out and I really wanted to pick it up, so I did. This one might be another one that my boyfriend brought. He bought me a lot of books. He's an angel. This is the third book in the One of Us Is Lying series. The first book is kind of like The Breakfast Club meets like a murder mystery type of thing, so like count me in. I've heard amazing things about the first two books, so I just need to read them and then read this one as well. Maybe that will be like a series that I pick up this year. I have a lot of Karen M. McManus's books, I just haven't read them, so she's definitely an author that I need to do like a mini series on this year, or like at least a spotlight type of video where I read a bunch of her books and see kind of what my thoughts are, so I can see like if I should recommend them all to you and read more of them, or if I should unhaul them because I just don't vibe with her writing. At this point, I have too many of her books for it to be like, yep, haven't read anything by her. It's a little concerning, but I'm still excited for all of them. I just need to make sure that like I vibe. Same thing with the next author. Sometimes I just get excited about books, so I buy them, and I am a firm believer that buying books and reading them, two separate hobbies. I said what I said. My uncle would agree with me and you can't argue with him. 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson, which is the 5th book in the series. I don't even own the 4th one, haven't read the first one. No business buying this, but this is the 5th book in the Truly Devious series, which is another boarding school murder mystery thriller type of thing. Have heard amazing things about this series. So excited. Why I purchased this book when I haven't read the first 4 is beyond me, but here we are. The next one I just picked up on a whim, have heard nothing about it, but I started reading like the first couple of pages and it creeped me out. So, and it was nighttime, so I couldn't read it at nighttime, which was my excuse, and now I don't have one. But that is Tell Me What Really Happened by Chelsea Sidoti. This one is about these kids who like go into the woods and it's like 7 kids or something like that, and only 6 of them come out, and they're trying to find this one girl because they don't know what happened with her, and I believe that there's like police investigations type of thing within it. Yeah, there are little police investigations in here from different characters for all of their points of view. It's kind of got like multimedia in it, so it seems like it would be really, really quick to read, so maybe it would be good for like a readathon type of thing. Again, just haven't read it yet. I would say take a shot every time I said that, but you would be dead by the end of the video. The next one, just hyped because the author published another book, and that is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This one I don't really know anything about. I just know that she wrote one of my favorite series, which is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Still need to read Killjoy, still need to read the 3rd book. I don't really want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. Maybe it'll happen in March, but a new Holly Jackson is a blessing either way. I'm really excited for this because I love Holly Jackson's thrillers. I love her writing. I think she's really, really good at young adult mysteries. So to get another one from her that like isn't in the same series, I'm excited to meet some new characters and see how she does it. All right, we've got one more section before we get to romance, so I think we're just gonna save the romance for last. So I have some adult thrillers and then a couple more miscellaneous books down here, which we'll get to. First up, they all kind of go together, which should be a relief for y'all because I can talk about them faster. Finley Donovan is Killing It and Finley Donovan Knocks Him Dead, both by El Casamano. I can never remember the author's name because Finley Donovan is also an author in this series. This is a cozy mystery series about this author who, in the first book, is at a meeting with her editor and she writes romantic suspense books, and so someone overhears them talking and thinks she is a hit woman for hire and tries to hire her for like her husband, and then she accidentally gets all tangled up in this. There's a hot cop that's interested in her as well as a lawyer. There's like a whole thing, and Finley ends up using it as inspiration for her novels while also trying not to get caught, and the chaos just ensues in the 2nd book as well as the 3rd one. I just didn't buy it because I really like the paperbacks in these for whatever reason, and it wasn't out yet when I purchased these, so I need to purchase the 3rd one because I really, really enjoy these. They're so much fun. I love the mysteries in them. I think that they're really, really well done, but they're also like lighthearted enough that I can listen to them for a while without being like too scared. Like, it gets my heart rate up for sure, but it's not like a full-on cardio sprint. Then some that I have not read. Who's surprised? Not me. We have The Housemaid as well as The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. This I've heard amazing things about, and Rylan has been reading a lot of this author's work recently and loving it, so I have a couple saved on my Libby app to read later, but these just look really, really good. I don't really know anything about it, but I've heard amazing things about it. I'm pretty sure they're really popular on TikTok. Regardless, very excited, and I believe there's a 3rd one coming out this year, so that will also be exciting, but I shouldn't buy it unless I read these 2 first. This one, just the title and the cover really intrigued me, and that is Murder Your Employer Volume 1, McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes. It's just like so cool. Oh, this is the place that I got it from. Like, how cool is that? That's the bookstore that I got it from when I was visiting someone. But there's like a map inside. Conservatory for the Applied Arts, a luxurious clandestine college dedicated to the fine art of murder. Prepare yourself for an education you'll never forget. How fun. It just sounds very fun, very whimsical, and also like kind of thriller-esque, so I'm excited to read this one because it doesn't look like anything I've ever read before, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it, and that's so rare given like the space that I'm in, because most of the time I have heard about really popular books, which is great because it puts me on and then I can read them, but at the same time, like, discovering a book that sounds really good that I've never heard of before doesn't really happen anymore. Fine, but also bittersweet for me because I used to love like walking into the bookstore, finding a book and falling in love with it. Now I'm a little bit more critical, and also I'm just so much more aware of like everything that's coming out. That for me is like kind of bittersweet, so I'm really excited about this one because I have 0 expectations whatsoever. So it's just like kind of exciting. Then this one looked really good. It is With My Little Eye by Jocelyn Jackson. You can't even see it. With My Little Eye by Jocelyn Jackson. I can't fully pronounce her name. The tagline for this just says, his game, his rules, her life. I just wanted like a cool adult thriller, and the cover seemed really interesting and caught my eye, so I picked it up. And then the 2 other like miscellaneous books that I had, but I needed to stick at the bottom of the pile because they're huge. We have Lore Olympus Volume 4 and Lore Olympus Volume 5. I still need to read these. I haven't gotten to this part in the series before, but I really want to like reread the other ones first so I can just read them all like together. I love Lore Olympus so much. It's basically a Greek retelling, a modern retelling in graphic novels of Hades and Persephone. I adore it. It deals with some really heavy topics for sure, so definitely look up content warnings. But I think that their artwork is so stunning. The story is beautiful. The way that the characters are done is gorgeous. I just love it all. There's also a very like perfect playlist to me that I listen to that's on Spotify that I always say I'll link below and forget, so I'll try to do it, but there's a chance I'll forget. It was originally published on Webtoon. Incredible, and so happy for this author that they got a book deal because they fully deserve it, and these are incredible. So I definitely need to do like a reading vlog soon. I wonder if there's gonna be a volume 6 coming out this year. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, stunning. When's it come out? May 7th. Okay, I have until May 7th to read these. Oh, I'm gonna be ill. Are you kidding? This cover is set in a library. You guys, that's gotta be a sick joke. Yeah, I'm hype. Wow, that's one of my most anticipated releases of the year now, so that's crazy. When's volume 7 coming out? October 1st of this year. Great, so excited, so excited. Oh, wow, okay, I have until May 7th to read the Lore Olympus volumes. I need y'all to help me hold myself accountable for that. Moving on to the romance, the most exciting section. I'm excited for all the books, but these ones I just got in the mail over the weekend, so I'm very excited about them because I heard so many good things about them at the end of last year, and a lot of people put them on like their best books of the year. But again, I wasn't reading a ton, so I'm kind of behind on like what the good stuff was last year. But that makes 2024 even better because all the stuff that people are excited for in 2024 I get to read, but I also get to catch up on last year, which hopefully means I'll have more saturation with my good books because they've already been vetted for me. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. Mile High by Liz Tomford, as well as Right Move, which these are the first 2 books in the Windy City series. This one, hockey romance. This one is an NBA romance. I don't remember which one people like more. I think it's Right Move, but either way, I'm super excited. They have stunning covers. I need to pick up a copy of Caught Up, but I'm really excited because, like I said, I've heard amazing things about these. This one is a flight attendant and a hockey player, and this one is an NBA player with her best friend's brother situation. So very excited. Like I said, so many people of like varying different tastes in romance have loved these, so I feel like they're pretty well like vetted and sorted that they are really, really good. So these will probably be on my March TBR if we're keeping it real. Then I don't think I've hauled this one yet. If I have, correct me if I'm wrong. Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the first book in the Halloway Sisters series. I got it in the KBR imprint. I wasn't able to get the rest of the series in the imprint, in this same imprint, unfortunately, but they're keeping it like pretty close, and I got the whole entire Addicted series in that imprint, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. I have not read Addicted to You yet. I know, I desperately need to read the Addicted series. I've heard amazing things about it. People love the series, and they love the Calloway Sisters series even more. It's like a spin-off. Rose and Connor. And I believe Connor is like a really big book boyfriend for a lot of people, so very excited to read this one. I don't really know much about it. I just know this is like the series that follows the Addicted series. We're in our Lauren Asher section of the video. She sponsored this portion. She didn't. I sponsored her. It's fine. Happy to do it, Lauren. 5 books. So, of course, I got Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher right when it came out, even though I haven't finished the Dreamland Billionaire series. This is the first book in the Lakefront Billionaires. Love a billionaire, Lauren. Thank you so much. This one is about Julian and Dahlia, and I believe there's like some renovation stuff happening, which is where Redesigned came from, and the cover reveal for the second book just came out, and it's beautiful. She's a thick romance. She's like Lucy Score type of thick, but I loved the fine print, and I'm in the middle of Terms and Conditions and really enjoying that as well. So I have no doubts that I will love this as well as anything else that she's written realistically. So Love Redesigned, as well as the entirety of the Dirty Air series. So I got Throttled, Collided, Wrecked, and Redeemed, and I believe these are all Formula 1, which I've never read before, but I'm really excited to, and I got these all in like the original publishing before they were picked up, which is just always special to me. I don't know why, it just makes me feel special when I get those editions. Really, really excited to read this because this, I think, was like her first at least bigger series that like blew up. So I can't wait to finally read these because, like I said, I love Lauren Asher's writing. I think she does banter really well. And I'm also just excited to learn more about Formula One. Maybe this isn't like the most, what's the word I'm looking for, like accurate depiction of it. But either way, I have heard so many things about Formula One, but I don't actually know anything about it. So I think this will be fun and like a good starting point for me, because that's how I learn a lot of things, is through books. Even if it's not 100% accurate, I'm learning something. Then another one that I saw that was super popular, and everyone is loving it, of varying different tastes, so it feels like a sure thing that I will probably love it, is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I don't think I've read anything by this author, but it's like a romance that also has kind of like some magical realism to it, because there's this like magical apartment that goes like 7 years in the future or 7 years back or something like that, and they fall in love in a different timeline type of thing. Heard this is very emotional. Don't really know much beyond that, but I've heard that people like can't put it down. I bought this when I was in the middle of my reading slump. I figured this one would be good. Now that I'm in the middle of reading, I'm even more excited to read it. Then my best friend got me Delilah Green Doesn't Care for my birthday. Thank you, Lindsay. This is by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a sapphic romance about a girl who is shooting for her stepsister's like wedding. She's doing the photography, and one of the bridesmaids, they end up having a romance. One of them is like grumpy, the other one's sunshine, but it's sapphic, which makes it, I think, fun. I love a good sapphic romance, and this is my best friend's favorite romance, I believe, that she's read. So very excited to read this one and then continue on with the series. Then my boyfriend, again, purchased a duology for me that I had picked out. I picked out the books, he just bought them for me, but either way, he bought me books. So like, thank you. I have There Are No Saints as well as There Is No Devil by Sophie Lark. I am like 60% of the way through this and just haven't finished it yet, which is crazy because I really like Sophie Lark's writing, and I read her entirety of the Kingmaker series. No, I'm reading the Kingmaker series, whatever is before that. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll put it somewhere on the screen once I remember, because I'm sure I'll remember while I'm editing. This duology is very short, again, would be great for a readathon. Sophie Lark's writing style is super accessible, and this is about a starving artist named Mara, as well as a really successful artist named Cole, who kind of like stalks her, and he is a serial killer, and one of his rivals goes to unalive her. Cole passes her and then is shocked when she's still alive. My camera decided to shut off because I've been talking for too long. Hopefully it won't do that again because I'm gonna get through these. He becomes obsessed with her and super interested in her because she survived when she really shouldn't have. It's a dark series, but it's great. It's so addicting, and I just need to finish it. Then, I don't know if you know this about me. You might if you've been around for a while. I've mentioned it a few times. I love political romances. I don't know why, I don't know what it is about it, but like specifically Jasmine Guillory's Wedding Date series really does it for me, because they're either a lawyer or like an assistant to the mayor or something like that. I love it. A senator, stunning. So when I saw Not the Plan by Giada Cadenet, I was like, yeah, have to. Not fully sure what it's about. It's following Isadora and Kareem, who I think they're going against each other, but they obviously end up falling in love, and she's kind of confused as to why they have this type of rivalry. Just skimming the back, could be completely off base there, but I'm really excited to read this one because I really enjoy the Wedding Date series, and I love politics in romance. I don't know why. I also really need to read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Speaking of loving politics and romance. I didn't know I liked it though when that book came out. It took me a couple years to find my groove with it, so forgive me. It's on the TBR for this year. Then I have some more popular authors that I love. We have, well, I shouldn't say that about this first one. Abby Jimenez, Yours Truly. Heard amazing things about this. So excited to read it. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read anything by Abby Jimenez, but I've heard amazing things about Part of Your World by her as well. So I'm really excited to read both of these hopefully this year. I just read a novella by her and really, really loved it. So that like encourages me even more to read more of her books, but I believe there's like always a dog in them. Oh, this sounds dark, or heavy at least. Oh, there's a doctor who I believe steals like her promotion on accident, and then he apologizes to her, and then they end up falling in love, and I think they write letters to each other back and forth. Then I picked up Ali Hazelwood's new books because I had to. So Love Theoretically, obviously by Ali Hazelwood. Haven't read it yet. Very excited. Rival Physicists. It's another STEMinist rom-com. I loved The Love Hypothesis, and I am currently in the middle of The Love on the Brain. I just love Ali Hazelwood's writing, so I'm excited to read this one and hopefully finish off her work this year. And then I also have Love to Loathe You, which is the bind up for the 3 STEMinist novellas that she published. I have all 3 of them on my Kindle, just haven't read them yet, which is just as annoying to you as it is to me. But in this collection we have Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero, which are all like hate to love, I believe. One last stack that you can't even see off camera. First, we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a college hockey figure skating romance, which I'm very excited about, and I've heard is very, very spicy. It also seems like you either really love Hannah Grace's writing or you really don't. So I'm intrigued to see how I feel about this. I heard it gets spicy like 50 pages in, but this is, I think, the first book in like the Maple Hills University series, and then Wildfire is the second. But I have held off, I've had some self-control and held off on reading that before, or held off on purchasing that before I read this and see, because it seems pretty like polarizing. You either like it or you don't, which is totally fine. I just want to see what camp I'm in before I go ahead and purchase more books. I know, look at me, using logic when book buying. Who would have thought we'd ever get here? Not me, still doesn't happen all the time, but progress. Speaking of Jasmine Guillory, I picked up The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, which is the first book. I had borrowed a copy of it from a friend, but never had my own copy, and so I finally picked it up because I loved this. I literally read it in one day in a car ride. It's one of my favorite romances. I really love Jasmine Guillory. She's one of my favorite romance authors. If you have not read her work, would highly recommend that you do that as soon as possible. Then my boyfriend bought me, this was a different trip. I just feel like I should say that because he's purchased quite a few of these books. Because like I said, he is an angel. The Comeback by Lily Chu, which I read last year, earlier in the year, but it was like an Audible exclusive. The audiobook came out before the physical book came out, and this one, she is also a lawyer, but she doesn't really want to be. I really like Lily Chu's writing style. She is also, I don't want to say like an auto buy necessarily for me yet. I feel like I need to read one more book from her before like I make that claim. But I really, really like the 2 romances that I have read from her thus far, and The Comeback was no exception. So I just wanted a physical copy of this for my shelves because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super sweet. I mentioned Lucy Score earlier. Y'all should have seen it coming. I got the first 2 books in the, what the hell is this series called? Nowhere. You gotta be kidding me. Knock 'em Out series. Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light. I haven't gotten the 3rd book yet because I haven't read anything by Lucy Score, but I have seen the TikTok girlies going feral for Lucy Score's books. They are thick contemporary romances. This one I know is like a hate to love, Grumpy Sunshine type of thing, where the girl moves in with this guy and he's not too happy about it. Don't know anything about this one. The 3rd one has a purple cover that I think is stunning, and I really, really want to buy it. It's taking a lot of self-control for me not to, but if I like these, you can bet your bottom dollar that I will. And then I also have By a Thread by Lucy Score, which is a workplace romance where they like get off on the wrong foot type of thing. Aslan is requesting a guest appearance. But yeah, 3 books by Lucy Score. I have a lot of work to do. It was getting a little dark, so I added my light, which I don't love doing, but I thought it necessary in this instance. Also, the snow outside is insane, so I need to get going. Then I purchased some royalty themed romances because I really want to do a vlog on that. So I have Paper Princess by Erin Watt, which I know isn't like a true royalty romance. I've heard mixed things about it, and I just kind of want to see for myself. I believe she is a stripper, maybe. This old guy comes from his mansion to like collect her, and he has 5 sons who all hate her. Their last name is Royal. Sounds interesting, so I wanted to try it. I've heard mixed things, like I said, about this series. Then we have American Queen by Sierra Simone. I read Priest by Sierra Simone as well as the novella. Didn't love them, but this one sounds interesting. It's the first book in the Camelot series, and I'm excited to read it. It says, I serve at the pleasure of the president. All right. Then I have 2 Tessa Bailey books. I have Happenstance by Tessa Bailey, which is a reverse harem romance. It's definitely shorter. I got this to read with the Mending Hearts book club last year, but I fell into a reading slump, so it didn't happen. But it's run by two of my really close friends, Stasia and Rylan. You should definitely check it out. I always have their channels linked below, but I'll try to link their Instagrams if I remember. They do like a romance themed book club every single month, and I'm excited about their picks. I need to get on it though. And then I picked up Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey, which is the second book to Secretly Yours. Haven't heard great things about this, but I do tend to enjoy Tessa Bailey's romances, so I wanted to give this series a try. Plus, I'm just a sucker for the cartoon covers. I can't lie. All right, last two books. Dark Succession by Katie Robert. Haven't really heard anything about it. I just enjoy Katie Robert's writing, so I figured I could pick this one up. And then Dare You to Hate Me by B. Celeste. This is, I believe, a football romance, and I've heard pretty good things about B. Celeste's writing, so I'm excited to start this series. That is it for this book haul. I say that is it like it's nothing, but it was actually freaking massive. I am excited about all of these books. It was an insane amount of books, but I am excited about them nonetheless. Now you see why I have a buying limit this year. I don't really know what else to say. Let me know if you've read any of them in the comments down below and how you liked them or how you think I'm going to like them. I love chatting with you guys in the comments, even if all you say is hi, so I really appreciate it when you say that. It genuinely like makes my day. But my voice hurts now and I need to beat this weather, so I'm going to go. I love you all so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you're doing well reading, mentally, and otherwise, and I really hope to see you all in my next video very, very soon. Bye, guys.